Hey everybody, I'm here in the BHIS studios, live in Rapid City, and I am talking to Sally, one of our testers. Hi Sally.
Hi, Sierra.
How are you?
I'm doing great today. How are you doing?
Good. Well, I'm kind of excited to talk to you. I mean, I've talked to you a little bit about how you got to be a tester, but I am excited to hear a little bit more in-depth story about it. So yeah, I think it'll be great. So you've been working for BHIS for how long?
Not quite a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I think the first time I met you was when we were in Louisville at DerbyCon last year, wasn't it?
Yes,
And
it
then
was.
Was that when you had just started?
Yep.
Cool. That was such a fun weekend.
Probably blast.
So can you tell us how your circuitous route to becoming a security tester?
Becoming a tester. So I was in security before. I was a blue teamer kind of person working for a managed security services firm in Ann Arbor. Nice little company. If I can give them a plug, is that allowed?
Oh yeah, sure. Do it.
Networks Group in Ann Arbor. Great group of people. Before that, I worked at the University of Michigan, also in security, but always defensive side, blue team stuff, protecting.
Yeah.
And I was interested in pen testing, but never really pursued it. I had some training because I would take SANS classes. But I got a call from John one day, and he said, "Hey, you want to be a pen tester?" And I said, "Are you going to teach me?" And he said, "Yeah." And so there I was, and he threw me into the deep end of the pool, and it's been a blast.
Nice. Do you feel like your beginnings in blue teaming helped you understand better how to be a pen tester, or did that lend anything to this?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because, it's really two sides of the same thing. So on blue team, you're trying to defend against the attacks that we're doing. So either way, knowing both helps you, whether you're on the blue team side or the red team side, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then how did you get your start in security from that? And did you go to school for that, or?
I did. I studied economics in college many years ago. And I did that because I loved math, and I didn't really want to go into math because I didn't think I'd get a good job. So I went into economics so I could do math. And then my last semester, senior year, I took a programming class, and I said, oh my gosh, I had picked the wrong major, but it was too late to teach that. But it was long enough ago that everybody was looking for programmers back then, and you didn't really need, training, official training. You could just learn on the job, so that's what I did. So I got into computers that way. And then years later, I was a system administrator, and people started to talk about security, and that sounded really interesting. And then we had kids. I stopped for a while, and then when I got back into work, security was the thing. So
right.
Yeah, so that's what got me involved, and it's super fun.
So then your first job out of college was a programming job?
It was Fortran programming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff did they create?
We created, this was early on in point of sale systems.
Okay.
And so we created the integrations between the various devices in the stores for the point of sale.
Cool. And did you enjoy that?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah. Cool. So you kind of had this really interesting base to then come back around and be on the red team pen testing. It's kind of interesting that you started with economics.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
So can you maybe talk about a typical day for you? I don't know. But keeping it obviously anonymous, what is it that you really like about pen testing, or what are your favorite parts, or?
Yeah, I think what I love most about security in general, but this applies to pen testing too, is that it's different all the time. It's not like every test is the same test, even if it's called the same type of test. Every single test with every customer is different.
So like
And
every phishing test is different.
Yeah, and you never know what the defenses are going to be like. And when the defenses are different, you have to apply different techniques. And the security devices get better and better, so we have to get better. Technology keeps changing. I love that about it. It's never boring. We're always having to hustle.
Right.
And it makes it really, really interesting and challenging.
Nice. I mean, obviously you started a while ago because you took that break to homeschool your kids.
Yeah.
But when you were starting, you were like, I mean, it probably, like, it's pretty, there aren't as many women as men, but it probably was even more pronounced when you started.
Oh, yeah.
You were like the weird woman who like who was a programmer and.
Yeah, I'm still a weird woman, but you know.
In the best way.
There's more of us weird ones now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's true. That ratio has changed, but not by a lot.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see that change more.
Well,
and I think it will. I think it will because women are great problem solvers. And,
yeah. Well, and we are pretty, I think, lucky to have a lot of women at BHAS. So it's kind of cool, but it's always interesting to see like that perspective. If you were like talking to younger women who are kind of in school or getting out of school, like what would you want to, I guess, say to them given your experience?
I would say don't be afraid. Do not shy away from it if it interests you. Just go for it, no matter what they say, right? Because computing is certainly in security, it's still kind of a guy's club. And you have to just ignore that and go about your business and do the work you want to do if you love it.
Yeah.
And it'll all be okay. And it's very fun.
Yeah. Nice. And then you are working from home.
Yeah.
How do you enjoy working from home? Did you work from home in any of your other jobs, or is this the first time?
This is the first time. There's pros and cons. The pros definitely outweigh the cons. One of the problems I have with working at home is stopping work. Because, you know, when you work in an office, the office closes and you leave and you go home and you're in a different place.
Right.
So there's separation. But I'm at home and that computer's always staring at me. I can even close my door and I know it's in there. And I think of something I want to try or something I want to do, or, you know, it's always right there. And it's hard to stop working sometimes. So.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, and you enjoy it so much, so it's also kind of, you do it for a job, but it's also kind of sometimes what you do for fun, too. So that makes it hard to have any separation.
It is. It is. And my kids are grown. They're not at home anymore. So that makes it even easier to just sit there all day at the computer.
Yeah. What are the other things that you like to do besides working? I
love to ride bikes, kayak, walk. I live in Michigan, so our summers are short. The good weather type sporting activities are short-lived, so I try to make the most of that then. In the winter, I still do a lot of walking, but that's about all. There's not much skiing around where we are.
Yeah. Do you live near the lake?
No. We live near a small lake, but not one of the Great Lakes.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, you told me one time you walked like 8 miles a day or something.
Yeah, I used to walk once a week, 13 miles. I did a regular walk, but then I'd walk every other day. I walk 5 or 6 miles. I still do.
Oh, that's awesome. I love walking. So we went over what advice you would give. If you were going to, like, from your perspective, because you've done pen tests now for many different companies on many different jobs, if you were going to give someone advice like that had a small company, you know, because I've even talked to a lot of friends who were like, well, what they don't care about me. I just have like a 3-person, you know, little law office, or, you know, like a little shop on Main Street in Podunk Town, you know. Mm-hmm. What would you say to those people that might not feel they should be concerned with security?
Well, there are hackers all over the world sitting at computers just running scans looking for openings. They can't tell when they find an opening if what's behind that open port is a large company or a small company. If they do a little recon, they can, but they don't necessarily care. If there's information there that they can benefit from financially, it's a target, right? So I would say, don't, take it seriously.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to be like, oh, well, you're just a little, like, gift store on Main Street. Well, we won't attack you.
It's tough. I mean, it's tough to find the resources to put into security when you're a small company. I understand that.
Yeah.
But I do think it's important. I really do.
Yeah. And what kind of advice would you give to someone personally? I mean, you have probably family members that you shudder at their security habits.
Yeah, don't click on stuff unless you were expecting it or you know what it is. Don't send your friends links from Facebook. Those are kind of the basic things. And then I always recommend to people, whenever you're buying something online, if you have the option to use PayPal or maybe Google Checkout or some really well-established payment method, as opposed to entering in your own credit card number, do that.
That's good.
PayPal may not be perfect, but they certainly have the resources to throw at being a super secure environment. That doesn't mean they're perfect, but they're going to be better than a mom and pop shop.
Sure. So like instead of buying the slippers with your credit card, you can just PayPal it, and then you're kind of behind that other level of security.
Yeah. I think you're taking less risk then.
Yeah.
So, and just entering your credit card number in one less place.
Yeah. So have you enjoyed working at BHAS for, I guess, almost a year now?
Oh, it's awful.
It's so awful, in fact, that everybody's pretty jealous.
I'm still here. No, I absolutely love it. And we have just such a great team, and I love the camaraderie. Even though we're spread out all over the country, we still get together sometimes on site, and we get together all the time on Google Hangouts or Skype or whatever as we discuss things.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I love that. It's so fun that several of you are moving to be closer to each other and, traveling and seeing everybody. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I've loved it a lot. So anyway, well, it was nice to talk to you, Sally.
Nice to talk to you, Sierra.
And thanks for telling us about how you got into this job.
Yeah.